folks, it's me, Brian, and this is what I'm drinking tonight. I'm having a taste test between one of my favorite beers, Chimay Grande Reserve, and the Chimay Grande Reserve Ale bottle fermented version. Now, you can get this for about $6 a bottle, but this costs $25 for this bottle. And it's a special edition. It has been aged since 2018. I have my glasses right here so I can read the bottle. So the Grande Reserve fermented and aged in wooden barrels is an exceptional beer that benefits from triple fermentation and extended maturing in barrels. Unfiltered, unpasteurized, this beer has an incomparable rounded wooden flavor. Contains barley. More info, chimay.us/barrel. So this is supposed to be the very special Grande Reserve. To me, the Grande Reserve is special enough. The Grande Reserve says Chimay's secondary fermented ales have neither been pasteurized nor filtered, and only natural ingredients are used to fully appreciate the robust character of the Chimay Grande Reserve. Serve slightly chilled in a wide mouth glass. Contains barley and wheat. So this says contains barley and wheat. This says contains barley. Now, of course, I have my special wide mouth glasses, which are from Chimay. And I'm going to try both of them and compare one to the other. Hopefully this is 4 times better than this one, since it costs 4 times as much. Also on the bottle of the Grande Reserve Ale barrel fermented, it says wood types: French oak, American oak, and whiskey. And there's a difference in the alcohol content. This is 10.5% alcohol by content, and this is 9%. This has been bottled in 2018, and the 3 fermentations: tank, barrel, and bottle. So folks, I'm going to try a variant, if you will, of my favorite beer, Chimay, the Grande Reserve Ale bottle fermented. So let's crack it open. They're different sizes. This is 33 centiliters, and this is 37.5 centiliters. I don't know how they come up with the difference, but anyway, I'm going to enjoy them both. So on my left, your right, will be the ordinary Chimay Grande Reserve. And they have the same icons on each of the bottles. One of the icons is that you store it vertically. Another icon is that you don't use a thin glass. You use a wide body glass like this. So both icons are on both iterations of the beer. Now this one has a different top, as you can see. It has that champagne under pressure top. So it might be a little bit stronger in terms of its carbonation. And it is under a lot of pressure. Whew. So on my right, Grande Reserve bottle fermented. So I'm asking a lot, huh? It's 4 times as much, and I want it to be 4 times as good. That's really not going to happen. That's not reasonable, is it? It's not, folks. So as you can see, there's a difference right away. Chimay, your ordinary Chimay Grande Reserve has much more head and is lighter in color, while the Grande Reserve Ale, which is bottle fermented, has virtually no head and goes away instantaneously. And it's a little bit darker. Smell? This has its ordinary peppery smell. And the smell of the special edition one Not as spicy smelling. Not as spicy smelling. So this barrel fermented is not as spicy smelling. And interestingly enough, it does not have as much head, like I said. Carbonation, and look, maybe about the same, maybe a little bit more here. This is darker a little bit more darker. Let's taste, folks. Prost, my friends. I already know how this tastes. 100 out of 100. One of my favorite beers. So let's compare it to the barrel fermented version. Prost, my friends. Okay, so I noticed a difference right off the bat. This is slightly sweeter, not as spicy as this one. So basically I'm paying 4 times as much for slightly sweeter and less spicier. I do not think it's worth it. Now, is this a great tasting beer? Yes. Is it worth $25 a bottle? No. They both have the same mouthfeel. Like I said, this is more maltier and sweeter. Well, folks, this was an easy decision to make. The ordinary run-of-the-mill Grand Reserve is better, in my opinion, than the Grand Reserve barrel fermented. They got me here, folks. I love Chimay, but it is not worth 4 times the amount paying for a beer which doesn't have as much flavor, to be honest. Doesn't have as much flavor as your ordinary Grand Reserve. So the 3 oak wood types doesn't do much for me. The extra 3 years that it is been maturing does not do much for me either. Nor does the fermentation types, tank, barrel, and bottle. So how I rate this? Well, it's tough for me to say this, but I give this like a 75 out of 100. I mean, it's a good tasting beer, but it's just not worth the money, and it does not have enough flavor for me. This does me well with the flavor, and I don't think this would compare with any of the Chimay line, including the red. I don't really drink the white so much. But this was not worth it, folks. So my recommendation is if you're a Chimay fan, just stick with the blue. The Grand Reserve barrel fermented version is just not worth the money. Stay safe, stay sane, and see you later, folks.